When was the last time you truly changed your hairstyle? And I mean really changed it, not just trimming the ends. Does the hair you see in the mirror today still reflect the woman you have become? Or is it holding on to someone you used to be? I want to tell you about a woman named Laura. She was 55 and had worn the same hairstyle for over 20 years. It was part of her identity, part of her comfort zone. But over time, it had lost its shape and life. Her hair looked tired, and so did she. One day, she decided it was time for something new. She walked into the salon, nervous but ready, and we transformed her look into a soft, face-framing cut that lifted her features and brought light back into her eyes. When she walked out, people stopped her in the grocery store to say how radiant she looked. She told me later she felt 10 years younger, not because of the cut alone, but because it reminded her of the vibrant, confident woman she still was inside. Here is the truth. Hair is not just an accessory. It is the crown you wear every single day. And after 50, the right cut does more than make you look beautiful. It elevates your presence. It speaks for you before you even say a word. And in this video, we are going to explore the styles, colors, and secrets that will not only refresh your look, but might just change the way you see yourself. In fact, there is one simple shift that many women overlook, yet it can transform your entire appearance instantly. I will share that with you before we finish, so stay with me until the very end. Why your hair matters more than ever after 50. Once you hit 50, something starts to happen to your hair that no one really warned you about. The texture changes. Strands feel a little thinner, a little drier, and they don't bounce back the way they used to. A few silver threads turn into a whole shimmering collection, and sometimes it feels like your hair has a mind of its own. According to a survey in Allure magazine, more than 78% of women over 50 say these changes in texture have affected how they feel about themselves. But it is not just about what you see in the mirror. Hair carries emotion. A great hair day can make you feel unstoppable, while a bad one can make you want to hide from the world. Research from the British Journal of Psychology found that a bad hair day can actually lower self-esteem and even change the way we interact with people. Be honest with yourself. Have you ever skipped a dinner or canceled a meeting just because you didn't feel good about your hair? I know I have, and I have heard the same from countless women my age. I remember a client who had been wearing the same long hairstyle for decades. It was part of her identity, but over time it had grown dry, shapeless, and it no longer complemented her features. The day we decided to transform it into a soft, face-framing cut, something magical happened. Her eyes seemed brighter. She stood taller. She laughed more easily. Later, she told me she felt 10 years younger and couldn't believe how much lighter and more confident she felt. So let me ask you, when was the last time your hair truly made you feel beautiful and powerful? Does the style you have today reflect the woman you are now, or is it holding on to the woman you used to be? Here's the thing. There is a moment in life when you realize you have the power to choose a look that celebrates exactly who you are right now. And once you embrace that, everything about the way you see yourself begins to change. 5 golden rules for choosing an elegant hairstyle. Choosing the right haircut after 50 is not about following every new trend. It is about finding a style that works in harmony with who you are today. First, the cut should have clean lines but with softness. Sharp, severe edges can feel harsh as our features naturally soften with age. A balanced shape that flows will always look more flattering. Second, it has to be easy to maintain. If you spend more time styling than living your life, it is the wrong cut. A hairstyle should work with your natural texture, whether it is fine, thick, straight, or curly. In fact, research from AARP shows that women over 50 are far more likely to keep a style long-term when it fits their everyday routine. Third, It should frame your face in a way that draws attention to your best features. The right layers can make eyes sparkle, highlight cheekbones, and even soften the jawline. Fourth, choose a look that is timeless rather than trendy. Trends can be fun, but elegance lasts. A great cut should still look beautiful in photos 10 years from now. And finally, the most important rule is that it must make you feel confident and comfortable in your own skin. I remember 2 clients, both the same age. One chose a style that was all over social media at the time, and the other went with a classic bob that suited her face perfectly. A month later, the trend-following client was already frustrated, while the other woman still looked polished and effortless every single day. So, what about you? If you looked at your hairstyle right now, would you say it feels like you? Or is it trying to be something you saw on someone else? Because once you start looking at hair as a personal signature instead of just a style, something shifts, and that is when the real magic begins. Face shapes and hairstyles that truly work together. The shape of your face is one of the most important things to consider when choosing a haircut. It is the canvas your hairstyle will frame, and when the two are in harmony, the result can be absolutely stunning. If you have an oval face, congratulations, you have one of the most versatile shapes. Almost every haircut can work beautifully, from a long layered bob to a chic pixie. The key is to follow the natural flow of your bone structure and keep your proportions balanced. For those with a round face, the goal is to add a little vertical length and avoid styles that widen the sides. Longer layers that fall just below the chin can elongate the neck and slim the face. According to InStyle magazine, side-swept bangs are one of the best tricks for breaking up roundness and creating gentle angles that flatter. A square face with its strong jawline benefits from softness around the edges. Face framing layers, soft waves, or a long bob with side-swept bangs can make all the difference. I remember a client with a square face who originally had a blunt bob cut straight across. While it was technically precise, it made her jawline look sharper and her expression a bit stern. When we switched to a layered bob that moved gently around her face, she looked instantly softer and more youthful. Friends told her she looked like she had just returned from vacation. Heart-shaped faces with a broader forehead and a narrower chin look best when we add some fullness around the jawline. A chin-length bob, a long pixie with volume near the ears, or a softly layered mid-length style can bring perfect balance. If your face is longer or more oblong, the aim is to create the illusion of width rather than length. Shoulder-length cuts with layers, curtain bangs, or waves that fall at cheek level can visually balance your proportions. Avoid hair that is too long and straight since it can make the face appear even longer. So, let me ask you this. When you think about your own face shape, are you choosing a style that highlights your best features? Or are you unintentionally working against them? Sometimes we get attached to a style simply because we have worn it for years, even if it is not the most flattering anymore. The truth is, once you find a cut that harmonizes with your face shape, you will not just look better, you will feel better too. It is a subtle but powerful change, and it can open the door to something even more transformative in how you see yourself. How hair texture changes and what to do about it. As we get older, our hair texture often shifts in ways we never expected. For many women, strands become finer, losing volume and density. In fact, research from the American Academy of Dermatology shows that nearly 50% of women experience some degree of hair thinning by the age of 50. For fine hair, the goal is to create fullness without making it look overstyled. Soft, strategic layers can add movement, while a blunt bob can give the illusion of thicker ends and a healthier look. On the other hand, if your hair is naturally thick or curly, the secret is to embrace what you have rather than fight against it. I once had a client with beautiful, natural curls who had spent years straightening them. She believed smooth, straight hair looked more professional. but the constant heat styling left her hair dry and brittle. One day, we decided to let her curls shine. I shaped them with face-framing layers to reduce bulk in the back and enhance the natural bounce around her face. The reaction was incredible. Friends told her her hair looked just like it did in her 20s, full of life and personality. She told me later it was the first time in years she actually felt like herself. So, let me ask you, are you working with your natural texture or trying to change it into something it is not? Sometimes, the most elegant look comes from simply honoring the hair you already have. And once you start seeing your hair as an asset instead of a challenge, the possibilities for your next transformation become even more exciting. 6 timeless, elegant hairstyles. Some hairstyles never lose their charm, no matter how many trends come and go. These 6 looks have stood the test of time and have helped countless women over 50 feel fresh, confident, and completely themselves. The first is the soft layered bob. This style frames the face with gentle movement and works beautifully for almost every face shape. I had a client in her late 50s who was holding on to a straight, blunt cut that made her features look heavy. Once we switched her to a layered bob that moved with her, she told me she felt lighter, not just physically, but emotionally too. Next is the long pixie, sometimes called the grown-out crop. It is perfect for women who want the sophistication of short hair without losing all the softness. According to AARP, short hairstyles like the pixie can visually lift the face and highlight the eyes, which explains why my client Margaret, age 62, started receiving more compliments than she had in years after her big chop. The shoulder-length cut with subtle layers is another favorite. It offers versatility, skims the collarbone, and works for casual or formal looks. One of my clients who runs a small business loved it because she could style it quickly in the morning, yet still look polished for evening events. Then we have the classic chin-length bob. Precise yet feminine, it highlights bone structure and creates a clean, crisp frame for the face. I worked with a woman who had very fine hair, and this cut made it look instantly thicker and healthier. For those who want a little more texture, the modern shag or feather cut is the answer. It is youthful, full of movement, and ideal for adding volume in the right places. My friend Linda, 58, went for this style and said she had not felt that playful about her hair since her 20s. Finally, the blunt cut on silver or gray hair is an absolute showstopper. It sends a message of confidence and pride in embracing your natural color. I will never forget my client Susan, who had spent years covering her grays. When she finally transitioned to a sleek silver blunt cut, her friends could not stop talking about how radiant she looked. So, which of these speaks to you the most? Can you picture yourself in one of them? Or is there a different classic you have always wanted to try? Because once you find the cut that feels like you, it becomes more than just a style. It turns into part of your identity. And that is when the magic really happens. Hair color after 50, when gray becomes your best feature. Gray hair can be one of the most striking and elegant features a woman can have, as long as it is cared for properly. When healthy and glossy, silver strands can frame the face like fine jewelry, catching the light in a way that adds both sophistication and individuality. A study from Clairol found that nearly 30% of women over 50 have chosen to embrace their natural gray, and many say it has actually boosted their confidence. The secret is in the upkeep. Gray hair tends to be more porous and can look dull if it is not moisturized regularly. Hydrating treatments, shine-enhancing serums, and purple shampoos to combat brassiness can make a world of difference. Think of it like caring for silk. The texture is beautiful, but it needs extra attention to look its best. If you prefer to color your hair, choosing the right shade for your skin tone is key. Warmer skin tones often glow with soft honey blondes, warm chestnuts, or golden browns. Cooler skin tones usually shine with ash blondes, silvers, or cool brunettes. The goal is harmony, not contrast so harsh that it overshadows your features. Very dark dyes can create a heavy helmet look, while overly bright blondes can sometimes clash with mature skin tones. I had a client named Carol who decided to stop coloring her hair after 25 years. We cut her into a sleek, blunt bob and let her natural silver come through. The result was breathtaking. She looked refined, powerful, and completely at ease in her own skin. People began telling her she looked like she had just stepped out of a high-end fashion magazine. So, how do you feel about your own hair color? Are you hiding your gray out of habit, or have you thought about wearing it proudly? Once you see color not as a way to disguise yourself, but as a tool to enhance who you are now, the whole experience of styling your hair changes. And that mindset will open the door to an even deeper level of elegance in how you present yourself. Common hair mistakes and how to fix them. Over the years, I have noticed certain hairstyle choices that can unintentionally age us or make our daily routine far more complicated than it needs to be. One of the most common mistakes is having too many layers. While layering can add movement, overdoing it can make fine hair look thin and messy. The right balance is key, and a few well-placed layers can work wonders without sacrificing fullness. Another pitfall is keeping hair overly long without any shape. Very long hair can sometimes drag the face down and make features appear heavier. In fact, a style survey by Good Housekeeping found that 64% of women over 50 felt instantly refreshed when they shortened their hair by at least 2 inches. The length itself is not the issue, but the lack of structure can be. Heavy, blunt bangs can also be tricky. They may have worked years ago, but as skin softens with age, thick, straight bangs can create a harsh frame. Lighter, side-swept or feathered bangs tend to blend more naturally and can soften facial features beautifully. Lastly, overly high-maintenance styles are a silent culprit. If it takes an hour of blow-drying and multiple products to get your hair to behave, it is probably not serving you. The best hairstyles enhance your look while fitting into your lifestyle. I have a dear friend who at 52 had long, brassy, dry hair that she rarely styled. It was her comfort zone, but it was also making her look older. One day, we decided to cut it to shoulder length, add soft layers, and refresh her color with a warm, golden tone. The transformation was stunning. She looked at least 8 years younger, and more importantly, she felt alive again. So, be honest with yourself. Are you holding on to a style out of habit, or is it truly flattering you today? Once you start making choices that work with your face, your texture, and your lifestyle, you will be amazed at how effortless elegance can feel. And that shift often sets the stage for something even more exciting. The art of communicating with your stylist. One of the most powerful tools you have when getting a haircut is not the scissors. It is your voice. Too many women sit in a stylist's chair and simply say, "Just cut it shorter," without giving any real direction. This is how misunderstandings happen. The first step is to be clear about the feeling you want your hairstyle to create. Do you want to feel lighter and more carefree? Do you want something structured that makes you feel powerful? The more specific you are, the easier it is for your stylist to create the look you envision. Bringing photos can be incredibly helpful, but remember, they are a starting point, not a rigid rulebook. Point out what you like in the picture. Is it the way the layers fall around the face? The softness of the bangs? The clean line at the ends? This allows your stylist to adapt the idea to your hair type, texture, and face shape. It also makes a big difference to share your hair care habits. If you are someone who only spends 5 minutes on your hair in the morning, a style that requires daily heat styling probably will not be a good fit. The best stylists appreciate honesty about lifestyle because it helps them choose a cut that works for you long after you leave the salon. And do not underestimate the power of using words like elegant or timeless. These are clear signals that you are looking for a style that will enhance your natural beauty rather than chase a passing trend. I had a client who once walked in and simply said, "Cut it short." The result was not what she wanted. The next time, she brought 2 photos, told me she wanted to feel more polished and confident, and explained that she did not want to spend more than 10 minutes styling her hair each day. That haircut turned out perfectly, and she left the salon smiling from ear to ear. So, what about you? When was the last time you had a real conversation with your stylist before they picked up the scissors? When you start thinking of your hair appointment as a collaboration rather than a gamble, you open the door to styles that truly reflect who you are. And once that connection clicks, the transformation can be more powerful than you ever imagined. When we care for our hair, we are doing far more than polishing our appearance. We are nurturing our self-respect. A beautiful hairstyle is not about chasing youth or competing with the woman you were 20 years ago. It is about honoring the woman you are today with all her wisdom, strength, and grace. After 50, the goal is no longer to look younger in someone else's eyes, but to refine and elevate your own sense of elegance. So I want to invite you to take a small, brave step in the next month. Try a new style. It does not have to be drastic. Maybe it is a softer layer around your face, a bold new color that flatters your skin tone, or even embracing the silver you have been hiding. Let it be a choice that excites you, that makes you want to run your fingers through your hair and smile when you catch your reflection. And when you do, I would love to hear your story. Share your before and after photos, or simply tell us how it made you feel. Your experience could inspire another woman to see her own beauty in a new light. Because in the end, your hair is not just something you style. It is the whisper of your confidence, the quiet statement of how you value yourself. Let it tell the most beautiful story about you. One strand, one smile, one day at a time.